we have another terrain effect in water, and it comes on legendary Male Corrin. This is a really interesting unit, and we're going to talk about him. Let's get into this just a bit, though. Green, infantry, fire legendary, pair up that gives speed. Speed is very good. That's a nice effect there. Let's get into this weapon, though. They've been handing us OMNITANKs a lot lately. This is Hashido's Breath. We have Slaying, we have DC, and then we have times pulse 4 here. So you get cooldown at the beginning, and you also get cooldown after combat, which is nice with the Dragon Fang shot. We also have at start of combat, if units HP is over 25%, grants bonus to units. Omni equals number of allies within 3 spaces of unit times 3 plus 5. So if you remember Fallen Corrin, it's like that, but better. It's within 3 spaces and you get a max of 14 and reduces damage from foes' first attack by 7 during combat. And that includes brave attacks as well. And also, if foes attack can trigger foes special and units res is greater than foes res plus 5, you get the scowl effect, which is really nice. And then of course you get the if units HP is greater than 25% at start of combat, and if unit special cooldown count is at its maximum value after combat, grants another cooldown -1. So you're going to be able to spam Dragon Fang shot quite a bit. And Dragon Fang shot is better than the preference weapon. Honestly, this preference weapon is a little lackluster. It's not bad. I want you to think about the amount of text we've normally been getting on this. There's also no supportive effects like the legendary female Alir, which is another fire legendary. So I'm not the highest on it, but again, DC in the weapon is nice, but on a legendary, you're going to put DC in the seal slot. So a lot of times that is a wasted portion there. Anyway, let's move on though. Dragon Fang Shot boosts special damage by 40% of units res when special triggers. If units res is greater than foes res, reduces damage from attacks during combat and from AoE specials by percentage equals 4 minus current special cooldown value times difference between stats. So if your res stat is higher, you're going to get extra DR and resistance to AoEs, which is nice. If unit special is ready or unit special triggered during combat, reduces the percentage of foes non-special reduced damage by X%. Skills by 50%. So you get 50% piercing, that's good. And then you have this water effect. And after combat, if unit special triggered, applies Divine Vein water on target's space and on each space within 2 spaces of target space for 1 turn. They've got a really good diagram for that, but that is the unit that's attacking into you has water effects across it. Now it's important to note that this does matter if Corrin survives or not. So if the unit comes in and destroys Corrin, if this special doesn't go off, then that means Divine Vein Water doesn't as well. And Divine Vein Water applies the following effects on space, acts as difficult terrain for foes with range equals 2. Now that is regardless of movement type, so that works a lot like Divine Vein Flame. But then it also inflicts speed -5 on foe and reduces damage reduction by 50%. That's a nice effect. I like this a lot. I think I would like it better on a different unit. In particular, I would love to see this on some kind of nuke. That would be interesting to attack into a unit and then have the water effect spread out from them. On an OMNITANK, the fact that it happens after combat is not great. It means that first unit that's going to hit you, which is normally the strongest, isn't going to be affected by that. So I want to see what's to come for this unit. Let's move on to the other skills though. We've got a really interesting one just after this. So speed res finish is not the interesting one. High Dragon Wall. So we finally have Dragon Wall 4, and this is if a skill compares units res to foes or allies res, treats unit res as if granted +5. So that's nice. Inflicts speed res -4 on foe during combat. If units res is greater than foes res, reduces damage from attacks during combat and from AoE specials by percentage equals difference between stats times 4, max 40. Most of the time for this unit, you're going to get 40. There's some key places where you won't. Let's remember that the 2 of the biggest nukes right now are Dual Leon, which has very high res, and Duosanaki, which also has very high res. The units that this is going to do well against are the high attack, high speed ones. The biggest one that comes to mind is Duo Green, or Harmonica Green rather. That AoE spamming is not going to be as good versus this unit, and I mean, if we're being honest, it's not going to be good at all. So the place where this unit is interesting is any team that they've stacked the deck to try to take care of Ike. So that's what you're going to want to watch out for, and if the team has just all AoEs and blue nukes, then Corrin is going to sweep in and have a pretty easy job with it. It'll be a nice 1-2 punch for Fire Seasons if you are an OmniTank fan, which I know a lot of you are. Okay, we're gonna watch one little piece here, and they've been pretty good about explaining some of these through actual combat, and that's a difference. I have to applaud them for that. Okay, we've got a lot of stuff. You see Kvasir is attacking in. Obviously doesn't do very well because it's the wrong build. It's not the Devoted Basket build. Dragon Fang shot hits back, and then you're going to see stuff fly everywhere. Okay, that was really hard to catch, so I've paused right there and I've got you. So Kvasir was coming from the spot that has the arrow on it, and you can see the water kind of spreading out from there. So that is the range that we're talking about. Yeah, again, you would have liked this before the combat started, and then Kvasir would have had trouble attacking in. Whereas now, if Duo Leon was to attack in, for instance, probably Corrin doesn't survive that. We'll look at that. We've talked about this a lot, but we really do have to get these units into test sometimes because they're kind of hard to predict. So here's what we've got for this banner. You guys have seen it time and time again. Like, the worst thing you can summon for is colorless, and the best thing you can summon for is green. Red and blue are about the same. The thing you want to take away from this is one of those rare occasions where a different color from the focus is the highlight, and 2 emblem units on 1 color is amazing. And Kvasir is not a bad unit, has decent fodder, and is not terrible. So 1 is the clear winner. Red is amazing. Definitely if you're looking to progress your account, red is the color for you. I've got green as the second best. I don't love that you have 2 fire legendary OmniTanks. That's not a fantastic share, but I do like Corrin, and I think the combination of Corrin and honestly rearmed Lucina is really amazing. Those 2 are great, and I do like legendary Alir more than most because she also has supportive capabilities and has brave, and those 2 things are very nice together. So yeah, 3 and 4 really depends on what you want. Lumera, we've seen, has gained tons of value, especially if you're an Ike user. Divine Vein Stone giving you resistance to AoEs is very nice. And Shez, honestly, is still pretty good. If you deck out Shez, she does decently well versus Ike right now. Faye is a unit. Yeah. My preference is colorless here. I still think Asker performs very well. I think Hortensia is one of the best supports in the game right now, and also an excellent rearmed unit. And then we have Golveg, who is good and can serve a purpose if she's decked out, but probably the highlight is the other 2. Looking at the tier list, I still have Hanoka in tier 0, and I don't think legendary Male Corrin comes close to her. Legendary Hanoka is a nice unit and is also supportive, and this is a great combination in this meta. As for the OmniTanks, I've got him at the bottom of tier 0, but I am questioning that placement. He might be at the top of tier 1. He doesn't have NCD, and he doesn't have anything that really helps him versus burn damage. There's a possibility that you can just make him so tanky that when Leon attacks into him that you get the burn damage, and then Leon does 0 afterwards. But I don't think that's the case. And we'll get this unit into testing and we'll find out. But right now, I still think Leon is going to be someone who does really well versus this unit. I also wonder how well Sanaki does. But again, this unit doesn't have null counter disrupt. There are a sea of units that can pick at you when you are in that position. If you look back at the fire legendaries, one of them is Hanoka. So I'm curious how the damage reduction stacks out. It's a lot of damage reduction, don't get me wrong, but we also have a lot of piercing, but a lot of the damage reduction is in the special. So it is a ball of yarn to unravel. This is a very tanky unit. What I will say is infantry legendaries that are supposed to be tanks do not age the best when they have no supports at all. If Corrin is your favorite, definitely go get this unit. I will never tell you not to go get your favorite units. I probably would grab a one-off otherwise of this unit and move along. I'm not a huge fan right now. So if you're interested in what's going on in the meta, I just did a report on that with all of the actions and all of the bonus stealing going on. Check that out. Members, you are amazing. Thank you so much for all that you do. Take care and schedule an appointment with your FEHologist real soon.